Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, family? Greetings to everybody. It is your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Welcome to the Be the Power platform. This is one of our BTP pop-ups. We wanted to have a discussion today about the Ice Cube situation, and we also wanted to go over Diddy's Black Party, our Black Party agenda, to see if it's something that's viable and if it's something that's beneficial to our people. You know, a lot of people are trying to step up. We've seen that with Ice Cube and his contract with Black America, which is why we did a breakdown here on the BTP platform of that particular contract. It's still up on our channel for anyone to go check it out. Shout out to the chat, everybody that's in the chat. I don't see any of our mods just yet, but they'll be here soon. But shout out to the mods. I got my brother Josh on deck. My brother Ali will be joining us shortly. So I'm brother Josh, I mean, we could just start talking about it. I'm having a Mike Pence moment right now, and I got a fly that's just buzzing around. He just will not move from my area. So if y'all see a fly land on my hat now, it's my Yankee fitted. Y'all let me know in the chat just in case I can't see it. But brother Josh, what were your thoughts? I listened to the conversation that Antonio Moore was having with Ice Cube, and I thought it was productive in the sense, I wish Cube would have said more, but I think he had just did the interview with Roland Martin, and from where I sat with it, I felt good that a lot of the wealth data that the movement is known for was able to be put into the airwaves, if you will, for those that were watching for the first time or watching that channel for the first time to hear what Cube had to say exactly. So after that, I watched the Roland Martin. I just did that not too long ago. The Roland Martin interview with Ice Cube, and that was crazy to me. But Ice Cube held it down, in my opinion. We want to get into some of our positions on what we feel about this whole thing with Ice Cube. Again, let me stress, because I had to put a tweet out, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, of MAGA. We don't support them. We don't support that. But we do understand power. And we know that in politics is not personal at all. In politics is just power. Things can affect you personally, and that's a fact. But it's politics at the end of the day. It can't ever be so personal that we can't try to do something for our people who are at the bottom of the bottom. So, brother Josh, if you wanted to, give a little breakdown of what you heard so far as we lead into the discussion.
Yeah, man. I it's interesting how we see that people on the left media and voices on the left have flipped on Ice Cube. I wouldn't say they flipped on him like all the way, because it weren't like they were warm to it, but they turned it up to another level once he made it clear that he was his plan, and he was in contact with Trump's administration, and he also said he was in contact with Biden's administration. Mm-hmm. And Trump's administration decided to exploit that moment of being able to say that they had a conversation with him and say that he had some input on their platinum plan. And we all know that it was clear that Cube was taking a position of nonpartisanship as far as saying I'm doing agenda-based politics, not party-based politics, and stop trying to pigeonhole Black folks and saying we all need to be getting behind the Democratic Party, or else, like Joe Biden says, we're not Black.
That's right.
But that's the position that Q was taking, and that's the position that ADOS has been taking. That's what we've been saying the whole 2 years. And we actually took it a step further, and as Cube also mentioned, that it's not just Blackness, it's the specificity of being ADOS. So it's really interesting to see. And he mentioned also, I don't know, I can't remember if he said it on the show last night with Tone, but I heard him on another show, and he was saying that it was mentioned that CNN was supposed to talk to him on Chris Cuomo's show, and they actually cut him at the last minute.
That's right.
So wait a minute. That would have been a great time to ask him about what his platform, what was up with his platform, or what was up with his collaboration with the Trump administration, or even the Biden, or the potential collaboration with the Biden administration, that they said we're gonna do it after the election. You could have straightened all that out. You could have exposed them. But see, you know what that would have done? That would have put ADOS on front and center on CNN, and they couldn't have that. They couldn't have Ice Cube get on their platform and speak to Black voters, ADOS voters, and be like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be demanding an agenda. We're not supposed to just look for identity politics of a so-called Black woman as vice president. We're not supposed to just be content with Joe Biden lift every voice plan that's lifting all the voices, so our voices get drowned out. We're not supposed to be content with that. They would have crapped their pants if he would have said ADOS and highlighted the work that was done by, shout out to ADOS California, and how Cube helped with the work to get the AB 3121 passed. And if he would have talked about Prop 16, like these things, they didn't want to give the platform of Cube to talk about, because it probably would have done some damage. It probably would have done some damage to what they would like to see done. And we're going to get into how quickly they pivoted, and the way that they pivoted, I thought was real slick, and I want to say it's orchestrated. But if you have something you want to say, building on that, you can go ahead. What I want to do is I'm on my phone now, but I'm trying to get my laptop set up so I can share my screen.
Okay.
So while I'm doing that, if you don't mind just hopping back in.
Okay, definitely. I mean, look, I just took a couple of notes because I was listening to the Roland Martin interview, and I thought it was interesting. It was a really interesting interview, right? And Roland, to me, toes the Democratic Party line. We see him dancing with Hillary, et cetera, et cetera. We know that he's against the ADOS movement. We know that over the past year and a half, some people can't take critiques. It is what it is. But Cube said that Biden told him I believe the administration, I'm not sure if he said Biden directly, told him that we agree with 85% of your plan, but we're going to talk to you after the election. It's like, we need this conversation now. What do you want to talk to us after the election for? And this is why we pointed out on the episode that we did about Biden and Trump, showing that these are two peas of the same pod. It was nothing in Biden's platform, the original platform that he had that was supposed to be a Black agenda, that addressed us at all. In the Hispanic version of that agenda on his website, he talked about what he was going to do for day one. With us, it was the same baseless rhetoric. We're going to invest in HBCUs. We're going to, do this. And now one of the things that, I give Roland Martin props on was when they were speaking about the 500 billion, Roland was speaking about, this is basically infrastructure. And this is something that I've spoken on this platform as well. So what they do is they'll create these quality of life initiatives using these types of funds. And they will pretty up the ghetto. You know, they put new fencing and facing on the housing projects, replace some of the old brick, and swap out the gates. You know, we used to have the chain link fences, get some black gates and maybe a playground or two. The conditions of the neighborhood never change. They never change. So, I think that element of it needs, it needed to be brought out. And I think that Cube's whole demeanor was, look, I'm basically learning this thing as I go along. And our critique of Cube's contract with Black America, we spoke to the things that we thought were right and exact, that would be beneficial. We were also critical of some things that we felt weren't right and exact, particularly if he said he had other economists and Derek Hamilton's name was signed to that particular contract. So yeah, we have to make sure that this like the opportunity zones Donald Trump always brags about, these are nothing but slush funds for rich millionaires and billionaires to have tax write-offs to. There's no revitalization in any of these neighborhoods that we can point our fingers to and say Trump and his administration did that. In fact, our neighborhoods, I'm from New York City. My neighborhood in Queens, Far Rockaway, is descending into utter madness. I mean, Chicago is Chicago. Detroit is Detroit. Compton is Compton. Los Angeles. Like these, where's this Trump? Where these, we don't see these opportunity zones helping anywhere. So my position is, why wouldn't somebody like Ice Cube, after Trump's campaign reached out to him, say, look, this is what we want? I personally see no problem with that. And some people disagreed with that, and I understand their disagreements. We are dealing with a neo-Confederate president with a neo-Confederate base. But the difference between that time period and this time period is that they weren't trying to rely on the quote-unquote black vote to remain in office, so they could ignore us. This time, Trump really needs that 20% of the black vote that administration told Roland Martin, because Roland Martin went and met with them as well, that they need. So I for one, I didn't have a problem with that. Before Josh jumps back in, I want to speak to just a couple of the points. I'm gonna mute you real quick, Josh.
Oh.
Let me see. Roland spoke about why Trump was polling well with black men African American men across the country. He gave Ice Cube these three reasons, and they were sound and they were legitimate reasons. But Cube asked him, why couldn't the Democrats get these disaffected African American men? I thought that was a perfect pivot back to what they were trying to do with Cube, because they tried to me, in my opinion, I thought it was one of those Umar Johnson, we're going to bring him on, we're going to ambush him. That's why they bring Alicia Garza on, and we're going to speak to Alicia Garza in a second.
What I miss, y'all? My bad.
Not too much. We just stepping up, setting up the conversation. Basically Cube said that he had to step up. There was some people of color language in a lot of this stuff that, in a lot of the platform, particularly of the Democrats, that wasn't right and exact. We over here on BTP, we're going to keep it official. we read Cube's contract as well. It has some of that same similar language because it's supposed to be a contract for Black Americans, but it includes Native Americans or Indians. And we believe that that was done to make his contract appear to be more palatable to the rest of America. And, you know, we have to be unapologetic for what it is that we're standing on over here.
And he may have changed that because, you know, Cube has obviously adopted the language of, like, you know, we got to push this people of color thing, this, you know, minority thing to the side, because that is something that's going to be used, that's language that's used to keep us from getting what's due us, you know what I'm saying, as the descendants of the institution of chattel slavery and freedmen and stuff. You understand? So he knows that, and he's adopted that language. So maybe I have to look at his contract with Black America or whatever. We got to look at it again to see if he's you know, changed that language.
One thing that I thought was interesting was Alicia Garza. She tried to blindside Cube with her own personal and basically anecdotal type of testimony about the death threats that she's getting. And what everybody should have known what Cube was saying. And he said it right there on Roland Martin. So for her to continue with that line of her personal, you know, insofar as her being attacked, this man was saying, look, I was approached by the Democrats. I was approached by the Republicans. The Democrats told me to wait. The Republicans asked me, what can I do right now? And Cube said, well, this is what you can do right now. Period. Me personally, I had no problem with that. And I liked how Cube redirected the shots back at her and said, well, what about Joe Biden's record? Basically, neither of these people have a good record with our people. So this whole emotional political nonsense is slowly but surely starting to die out. The problem is that the more disaffected we become, particularly us men, those that are not politically sound are leaning towards the Republican Party, and that's a problem. And this is why we want to get into Diddy's Our Black Party political party a little bit later as well. Brother Josh, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, you know, it was real interesting, that dialogue. I wish we could bring up some of the clips. I was trying to bring up a couple.
I thought about time stamping them so we could do that, and then I was just kind of rushing because we, you know, planned this last minute. So I was like,
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it was a couple moments where Roland got jammed up, man.
Yeah,
like he backed him. He tried to go on the attack, and next thing you know, it's like when you playing chess, Cube was just like making moves, and Roland just doing all kind of strategy, or just trying to think he got a strategy to set Cube up, and he didn't open himself up. Next thing you know, you see that bishop. Oh, check. Oh, snap. So that's kind of what I saw, especially when he started talking about the black males and stuff like that, the Democratic Party. That jam rolling up, and he had to even concede.
That's a fact.
He had to concede that, because when asked about, well, what about how the Democratic Party is pretty much gave the middle finger, or the black males that behind the kids. And he was like, well, actually, that's actually something I'm working with the Democratic Party with. And so he's actually conceding that. So that, but so if you're going to concede that, stop trying to act like give us a problem for bringing that up as an issue, especially, we black males, ADOS males. And, it was a couple other moments especially when, it's funny how they try to blindside the brother with Alicia Garza,
That was crazy.
That was whack, man. That was whack, yo. Period.
And she was whack because she was basically saying that her needs and the needs of her organization supersede what Ice Cube is talking about.
That's right.
And so this was another funny part too. Okay, Roland brought up the Congressional Black Caucus. So what Roland, I love the way Cube played this thing, you know, because it was real. It was a genuine response to it. So what Roland tried to do was say that the Congressional Black Caucus had some of the same points that they presented to Donald Trump's administration, and the stuff got shot down, right? And he basically asked Q, what do you say to that? You know, and Q basically was like, that's good. There's going to be some overlap. Of course there's going to be overlap.
Right, because we got good ideas. So yeah,
right.
It's going to be some overlap.
That's right. And I'm not a politician.
Out there.
That's right. And I'm not even a politician, right? So, and which gives Ice Cube some room to grow. Now, say, okay, let me get a little bit deeper into this thing. And then instantly I had to pause. I took my note and I said, well, where was the Congressional Black Caucus's plan for the 8 years that Obama was in office for our people? Because starting in 2010, African-American wealth begins a decline that is projecting us to be at $0 starting at the middle by 2053. It's been on a steady decline. Where was the CBC's plan then? You see? So, you know, and when you know that, then that you know how to shoot it back. But I thought Cube's response was still excellent in that regard.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Roland, like Josh said, Roland really backed himself into the corner, and the arrogance of the Alicia Garza trick. Excuse me, I didn't mean to call her a trick. I was trying to say chick, but I got tongue tied and said trick. But I meant to say chick. All right. The arrogance of her was just really crazy, man.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, get in line. She was basically telling the brother, get in line. Like, yo, he's like, I'm not getting in nobody's line.
Nobody's line.
I tell you this, bro. Like I said to y'all on the phone, he's being a lot nicer to these people than I would be. I ain't even gonna lie. We'd be on Roland Martin turned up and everything else. Like, I don't know who y'all think y'all talking to.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you, can I share this? Because, and if I share it, will it play? Can you, I don't know if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna try to play it.
All right.
I know I gotta share it with sound, but
I'm gonna say this because this is I just took a little bit of notes, and Alicia Garza kept trying to make it about her movement, and she kept saying things you can't have movement without a movement. What are you talking about? She was trying to shoehorn Ice Cube and his celebrity and his influence to get behind what she's doing with Black Lives Matter. That whole Black Lives Matter organization is anti-black male, anti-Ice Cube type of individuals, anti-BTP type of men, individuals. So why in the world would somebody want to get behind that organization? We can get behind the rallying cry. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Right. And let me say this. That organization, just as she said to him a few minutes earlier, is being called a terrorist organization. Why the heck would I want to align myself with you? I got more agency than you right now because the president, his administration don't mind meeting with me. They don't want to F with you in your organization. Why am I align myself with you, a terrorist organization and an LGBTQ organization for what?
Right. That's right. Because that's their main concern. On their platform, this was first exposed, I believe it was the New York Times maybe 2 years ago. It was either the Times or the Post. And I went and read when I see stuff, I got to cross-reference and research it for myself. I went and read Black Lives Matter website. Man, father, like this stuff was missing in their family structure. So family structure. So the family wasn't based on what a nuclear family is supposed to be in the first place. And everything that they've done since then caters towards their agenda of BIPOC, people of color, and LGBTQism.
We can get into it. We can get
definitely.
into it.
And those who are LGBTQ, if you're an American descendant of slavery, don't feel slighted by what we're saying because you're still in our wealth group. We're saying that we're trying to do something for us, which includes you. You might identify as that, but you are in the collective that is the American descendants of slavery who are economically stuck, glued, stapled, whatever term you want to use, to the bottom of this American society. So you need to be getting on page with us. If you got rights and all of those things you want to fight for, that's your fight. What we're saying is our fight is to close the racial wealth gap. And Cube kept pressing that point. That's what I'm concerned about. We're broke.
Definitely. Let me play this. Let me play this little short clip. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Hold on. I can tell you personally. No, hold up. You said before new to black vote. I just
want to try to cut him off.
And I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to correct something. I met with the White House in 2018. They told me directly in 2018, we think we can get 20% black male support in the 2020. So it didn't. They were fully aware of that.
Why'd you meet with him? Why'd you meet with him?
I'm a journalist.
Why'd you meet with him?
I'm a journalist.
What'd you meet with him to talk about?
I'm a journalist. I met with them to talk about public policy issues, to ask them those various questions.
Public policy issues, and the thing was to get 20% of the vote.
No, right. They said no, not 20% of the vote.
Did they think they was going to get that?
No, this is what they said. They said they believe they could get 20% of the black male vote, and they specifically said they were going to use criminal justice reform and economic policies.
Why did they think they can get 20% of the black male vote? Why did they think that?
Because they said they think that they can appeal to disaffected black men. They said
he didn't answer the question.
Black women don't like them.
Why can they appeal to that demographic? Who's not appealing to that demographic? How can they swoop in and get it?
Who?
That should have been covered.
What do you mean?
This is what I'm asking. How can they
now he's playing dumb?
That's supposed to be covered.
Well, first of all, that's not the case because in 2012, between Obama and Romney, there was a 9-point gap between black men and black women who voted for Obama and Romney. In 2013, with Trump and Hillary Clinton, that expanded to 13%.
He tried to buy him some time.
When you look at 2020, they believe that, we think there's an opportunity here for us to be able to appeal to black men on economic policies because they say black women can't stand it.
Well, it's not being done for black men in this country that the numbers growing.
Because first of all, because the difference between black men and black women, black men are more likely to be.
Why don't the
wait, hold on, hold on.
You don't want to answer the question.
I'm answering because this is from focus groups, from polling data. Black men are more appealed by Trump's anti-immigration position than black women. That's one.
I don't believe that's
one of the issues there. One of the issues that we also see is that we've seen where black men feel as if the Democrats have appealed more to black women than black men. Thirdly, Donald Trump, by touting the First Step Act, saying he got criminal justice reform done and Democrats didn't, which is actually a lie. The mistake that Democrats have made is they haven't taken credit for the First Step Act because if the Democrats don't pass it in the House, it actually don't get done. And so they see an opportunity to be able to target black men who are disaffected by both parties by peeling to their pocketbooks, their 401ks, by using tax policy. And that's what their strategy is.
So what's the Democrat strategy to target black men?
And that's what on as well by saying when you have a problem, when you see 9 points in 2012 to go to 13 points in 2015,
you see his face?
Go to 20, you got a problem. So you got to focus on that and shore it up, which means you better speak to those issues, speak to those men, having those surrogates doing it, but also speaking to the policies. I've been covering this very issue when it comes to these black men for months.
What is he talking
Democrats
about?
haven't done it. Now folks are sort of trying to pay attention now, but I actually was having talking.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Go ahead. Y'all go.
Yeah. I just want to say to that, first off, you know, you got to think about it. You know, he was talking about the First Step Act. Well, if the Democrats don't pass it in the House, okay, well, the Democrats, they should have been passing policy to help do that reform anyway. It should have been introducing it, and it should have been a lot more extensive than the First Step Act was. So they had to pass that in the House, unless they were going to get excoriated. They were going to just get fired, just like torched for not doing that. Like you would definitely. So that's their own fault for not introducing it first, right? Now you can say, well, they didn't introduce it because Senate Republicans in the Senate. Well, that's just how it works. If you introduce it first and the Republicans in the Senate shoot it down, then that's how you can say, well, we tried to do something, but Republicans in the Senate blocked it, you know? And so you can't, like, they were damned if they do, damned if they don't. They had to, but that's your fault. That's your fault. So now then we move on to the question he asked, well, what have Democrats done to help black males or appeal to black males? Well, we've seen them do the exact opposite. I think especially recently when we're talking about issue like we've seen that actually more so. It's been like double and triple down after they got Kamala Harris as a VP nominee. And this is it's not, he tried to frame it around just being polling data and what they seen behind the vote. It's, yeah, but you're looking at the end result. You're looking at the symptoms and not like the root cause. You know, you're looking at, man, we've been losing. I've been losing weight, but you ain't trying to figure out why you're losing weight, because, you know, you got some type of serious health challenge. You got AIDS or something. You losing weight. Stop looking at the fact you're losing weight. Go look and figure out why you're losing weight. And I think we've seen that, just like Joe Biden said on the debate stage, when asked about reparations, he pivoted straight to immigrants as the future. That's not, I'm not trying to make this show about that, but that is just one telltale sign to show that there is a starving out and there's a neglect factor. But look, anytime you nominate the person who call us super predators, and then instead of fixing, and you fail, right? And then instead of fixing that, you turn around and you give the nominee, you have all the other people that would split the centrist vote and the establishment vote. You have them drop out of the race and endorse Joe Biden, the person who not did the super predators, but and was not married to somebody who pushed the Black Caucus to sign the crime bill. No, this is the guy who called it the Biden crime bill. This is the guy who authored the legislation and who authored a bunch of stuff before that, working with segregationists in serious races on the conservative side. How do you expect that that's going to turn out this time? How do you expect that even in the campaign, he's going to get past that and never, and then want to say, well, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. You're saying that without giving us a real Black agenda. You're saying that while disrespecting us on the highest level, pivoting away from reparations and pretty much signaling our erasure. You know, how do you think that's going to turn out? How do you think that's going to make Black male voters feel? So in the end, whatever happens, they can't blame us. You have no reason to blame us for whether the turnout is high, the turnout is low. If Trump gets an increased number, I don't want to hear nothing about us. Now, I want to move on to Alicia Garza piece, because I thought that was interesting. But is anything, I'm gonna pull that clip up, but is anything that y'all want to say in regards to that clip or whatever?
I'll say this, Josh. I'll say this. First of all, Roland is a BS artist, right? Because he couldn't answer the brother's questions, right? He backed himself into that corner, and when he got flipped on him, he couldn't answer his questions at all, right? So he started tap dancing and talking about all of this other irrelevant stuff. So, but at the end of the day, what he tried to do was say that Joe Biden's plan had the specificity that Ice Cube was looking for, when that's a complete lie. It does not. It does not have the specificity that he's talking about. Joe Biden's plan starts out talking about you cannot fix race by social programs, right? It starts out talking about that. But then when you go into it, you'll see that it's for first-time home buyers. It's for small business owners. It's for people of color. It's for minorities. It's all of that kind of stuff. The very things that Ice Cube was saying in the very beginning, that's not what we need. We don't need that kind of language. So immediately he goes right to that kind of stuff. Yo, look, this is what it says about first-time home buyers. This is what it says about HBCUs. Like white people don't go to HBCUs and other kind of people don't go to, like, man, all of this stuff that's in there is not specific to black people who are the descendants of Negro chattel slavery in the United States, period. Facts.
I mean, look, we could get to the Alicia Garza part. Let me see, because I wrote some notes down, right? Cube was speaking to the gap, the wealth gap, our people being broke. And Alicia Garza was making a pathos argument, if you will. She was trying to appeal to emotions. And she was trying to lecture Cube on what he should and shouldn't do. And that's when he basically was like, I'm not getting in nobody's line. Her whole mission was to try to come on there and pigeonhole this brother. This is why people like Avis, what's her name, Ali? Avis the Weaver or something like that. This is why she blocked me on Facebook, because we would have these discussions, and she's a part of Roland Martin's crew. And, you know, her whole thinking that she won the argument was based off of the 20 or 30 people that would comment and say, yeah, you go, girl. That's right. He don't know what he's talking about, but not with anything substantial. And she would ride that type of wave. And that's what they use with our people. The Democratic Party does. They play on the emotions of our people to get them to the polls. I mean, Roland Martin's shirt says something to the, I can't see the bottom of it, but something like vote like your ancestors. Maybe I can't see the bottom, but it's a reference to the answer. I don't know if Roland Martin shares the same ancestry as me. I don't know. I don't know if he is an American descendant of slavery, if he descends from the freedmen in the United States of America. I'm not sure. But
you know what's interesting about that? You know, sometimes a lot of times, especially, you know, older generations of people, they may absolutely have that ancestry, but they don't necessarily always, you know, act like. I mean, let's say I believe he said he has some ancestry from the islands. I don't know if he's partially from the islands or fully from the islands.
Somebody saying he's from Trinidad. Somebody saying Haitian. Somebody else saying Trinidad.
Yeah, I don't know if he's half Haitian and half ADOS or whatever the case may be, which we know you ADOS. But the thing is, you don't get to have that answer, have ADOS ancestry, and to have another ancestry and then not advocate for ADOS ancestry. You don't get to. You need to be advocating specifically. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. I'm about to get into something else. So let me.
It's all good. Brother Logic said he about to join us as well. Let me just speak to the. Is this the part where you're about to play?
Yeah. I wanted to bring this on. He got him on this one too.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
About this 4 years ago. So I gotta ask you this shit too, because you're on that particular point there. So I got an email from someone, and they said, why is Ice Cube only talking about this contract now? So the person wanted me to ask, where was Ice Cube doing the primary? Where is he in 2018? How do you answer people who say that?
I was actually just, you know, being an artist, you know, rapping, thinking all this stuff was covered, thinking people that actually was in power was out doing their job, making sure they had something specifically for Black people to win. And when I looked up, I realized all this stuff is not specifically for Black people. It's for minorities. It's for people of color. It's for everybody but us. So I had to kind of take it upon myself to do something that was strictly for black people and write something up with some very smart, educated people and come up with a plan. It all happened after George Floyd was killed. So that's where I've been. And I wouldn't have to do it if it was being done.
But actually,
where has this contract been? Since the 60s, we've had over 7,000. Hello?
No, you're on. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Since
you're on.
the 60s, we've had over 7,000 black people elected in office in high positions throughout this country. Over 7,000. And we haven't moved an inch. So don't ask me where have I been. The question is, where the hell are you at?
Well, here's the deal.
Come on,
on a particular point. I want to bring in Alicia Garza, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. She also is with the Black Futures Lab. Q, you may not be aware of
before I continue this, I just got to say, we know before the contract with Black America has been, from here to equality, has been ADOS 101. We've been moving, but when I hear him say that, if the spirit of what he's moving is, if the spirit of the contract with Black America really was rooted in ADOS work and our frame of mind, and what we're talking about, which he's saying it is, like which his message is overall, then I'm assuming I take it like how I interpret that is like he's talking what we're talking. So I just wanted to say that.
This you may be aware. They put out this massive Black Census project. They surveyed, if I'm correct, Alicia, some 30,000 African Americans. They put this whole thing together. How long are they taking? When did y'all release this, Alicia?
We released it in 2019.
So Cube, here was this initiative that they put together, and I would love, and again, when we had you on last time and Reese was talking about the lack of stuff when it comes to Black women, and you said, hey, you love to hear from her. I would love for the two of you to actually talk about this, because
he tried to blindside
really achieve the same thing, and that is achieve things for Black people. And so, Alicia, go right ahead. If you have a question for Ice Cube, you got a question for Alicia, go ahead.
Hey, Cube, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. So,
I
guess my first question would be, we're in the midst of an incredible movement moment. Folks are all over the country, have been organizing for over 7 years, if not longer, trying to turn Black Lives Matter into a movement that can impact not just protest, but also policy. I did have a chance to read both versions of the contract with Black America, and I'm just curious, are there activists or organizers in this movement that you've been connected to who have been doing some of this legislative advocacy and policy advocacy work?
Great question.
Yeah, we connected with ADOS, and we helped get a bill passed in California. Governor Gavin Newsom passed AB 3121, which starts the conversation about reparations in California. So we have been connected with, a grassroots organization. We want to connect with as many grassroots organizations who are not connected to any other so-called powers that be, strictly grassroots. And we definitely want to connect with them, people who definitely have no ulterior motives, who really just want to see money get in the hands of the people who built this country and the ancestors and family of the people that built this country.
Ooh, come on now, Ice Cube.
That was fire.
Come on now, brother.
Killed them. He killed her with that.
He did. And let me say something about that before you go on to her response. The significance of what that brother did in assisting ADOS Los Angeles, ADOS California with the passing of that bill is this. That wasn't a Republican governor. That was a Democratic governor.
That's right.
That was a Democratic governor, number one. And obviously, even if you listen to what he was saying last night on an interview with Antonio Moore, what you're going to see is that bill was about to be deaded, right? His presence and his involvement helped to push that thing through with that Democratic governor. Now she's getting
real quick. That's what Angela Nirvana said.
That's what Angela Nirvana was saying.
BTP platform last night as well. Shout out to the sister Angela Nirvana.
That's right.
And shout out to everybody out there in ADOS, LA, ADOS, California.
That's right.
And who was fighting to make that thing happen throughout the whole process.
Watch this, y'all. Watch this. Watch this. What she's getting ready to do, Alicia Garza, is she's getting ready to ignore the significance of what he just said and start making her BS straw man, the fake red herring arguments. You're going to see. Watch. Listen to what she's saying. She's going to ignore that this dude, as long as she said that her and her organization has been fighting for policy or legislation change, they haven't been able to get anything done with the Democrats. They ain't get nothing. But he got something done along with ADOS, and she's going to ignore that and start talking about some other non-relevant BS. But go ahead, play it.
Yeah. You gotta get a brother some prop. When you see, number one is she's lazy with how you come on this interview and you don't know that. You got to be up to speed on the stuff, especially if you're gonna come and think you can attack the brother. Let's go ahead.
Do you think that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization?
See?
I've been getting death threats. I have security now 24/7 because Donald Trump and his administration has been targeting.
Bro, pause it for a second. She just completely ignored everything he just said.
That's right.
What he said was significant. We got a bill passed with the governor out there in California, a Democratic governor. And she immediately starts talking about, well, do you think Black Lives Matter is a terrorist? Because she has an agenda. She ain't even thinking about what he's talking about.
That's right. And you know what? Cube, if you listen to what Cube said, he said, we're partnering with actual grassroots organizations that don't have ulterior motives. So he knew exactly who he was talking to. He knew exactly what their organization was about and how it's not centered on our frame of how we're doing things with as far as being specific to not only specific to Black folks, but specific to ADOS. That's like the POC brigade. Really, they're not going to use it just because they don't want anybody to get sidetracked from BLM. But they're a BIPOC agenda, basically, a POC. But their BLM, a lot of their movement is more like POC-IB or something like that. Even BIPOC, you know what I mean? But let me keep it moving.
Treese and Opal and thousands of other activists across the country. I understand what you're saying about trying to talk to the people in power. But I think there is a difference here in terms of who we align ourselves with. And I can't at all say that I take a neutral stance here. You haven't endorsed Donald Trump explicitly, but I am just curious about how you meet those things and how you match those things. How do you put forward a Black agenda with a president that is attacking Black people, attacking Black organizers, attacking Black activists, and literally daring and threatening to throw us in jail for the organizing that we've been doing?
Well, both candidates, have their record of
he being so nice,
what they've done to Black people. You can look at them and see them out. I don't think Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. So that's
answer your question.
Think. What the president think about Black Lives Matter, that's his personal problem. Right now we feel that somebody's going to be the president. I would love to work with both parties. I'm not against the Biden campaign or nothing like that. Whoever becomes the president, I would definitely be pushing this program on them. And not only the presidents, but Congress people, senators.
That's right.
Private sector, you name it. If you go through the contract, you could probably come up with a list of about 500 companies we can talk to about this situation. So the thing is, what I don't think is healthy for Black people is to automatically jump on one side And if the other side loses, we just wait for 4 years to engage and hope our side win. It's time for us to let both sides understand this is a bipartisan issue like anything else going on in America.
Cube, I gotta ask you this. I want to ask you this here.
Cut him off,
because
Roland, before you start getting too
you
deep.
talked about reaching out to people. Did you connect with the Congressional Black Caucus at all?
Here we go.
They reached out after they saw what happened yesterday. They reached out to me. And they sent me this. They sent me, go to my iPad, guys. Come on. Platinum Plan versus
anything.
Okay, no, I was talking to the control room. Right. I'm gonna read it to you. Platinum Plan versus Contract with Black America versus CBC legislation. You call for your CWBWA calls for ending qualified immunity, banning chokeholds, and elimination of no-knock warrants. The CBC says all of that is included in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, but it hasn't been enacted by the folks there in Congress. I mentioned Juneteenth, the federal holiday. The same thing about anti-lynching law. Your contract calls for baby bonds of $1,000 for all new babies. The CBC says that's in their CBC's Jobs and Justice Act. You proposed a plan for neo-reconstruction. The CBC said we gave President Trump a 125-page detailed plan to do this in 2017. 4 years later, we've seen nothing. And according to the CBC, and I want you to respond to this here. According to the CBC, you propose a one-time interest-free home loan for qualified Black Americans. The CBC says, quote, this plan only addresses access to a loan for certain Black people. It does not address necessary relief provisions to prevent foreclosures and expand forbearance for homeowners. But the CBC Jobs and Justice Act does. And so what the Congressional Black Caucus says is the things that you're saying that these things have not been done, haven't been focused on. They say it has been done. It's literally in our bill.
That's what they say. Well, we need to read it. We need to read it.
We need to see it.
The Black Census Project that Alicia was working on, they dropped in 2019. She's saying they have been working on those things. And so just your response to that was, especially with the CBC saying, no, it's actually in our bills that have been passed. But they were passed by the House, but ignored by the Senate.
My thing is keep up the good work. Keep going at it. We got to get it passed. There's going to be a lot of overlap because we got good ideas. So that's going to happen. But, until things get passed, they're not passed. So we got to push to get them passed.
Actual facts.
Alicia, I'm going to bring Alicia in here. Cube.
Man, Alicia could be quiet.
One of the things that's important, if y'all go to bring Alicia 3-shot of this, would be great. This is where, and this is what I've heard from people. I've heard from people is, man, Cube is out here with his contract and he's dropping videos and saying things. But then you have folk like Alicia and others who are doing it. And one of the things that you said when I last interviewed you, you said that this
did you catch that? Hold up, pause it for a second. Pause it. Let's go back to this California bill because he tried to be real slick. And if it was me, I would have stopped him on that. But Cube is being nice. We just got a bill passed. You're telling me what the CBC can't do. You're telling me what Alicia Garza can't do and couldn't do. We just did. And you're going to tell me I'm talking and they're doing? Nigga, please.
Hey, not only that. Let's pivot real quick. Let's just go to this CBC website. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
All right, while you're doing that, I'll just talk about what he just tried to do, what Alicia and them are doing, and basically what you're not. What is Alicia Garza and her organization doing? What policy have they gotten passed besides having some streets named Black Lives Matter in some cities? That doesn't stop police brutality. In fact, people jumped over the barricades and start painting black paint over the Black Lives Matter, the yellow Black Lives Matter signs. So, I mean, this is what the Democrats and this is what their mouthpieces like Roland Martin, like Al Sharpton have been doing for years. This is why I feel we need a new political party. Some people may disagree with that, but we need a new political party, man, because if not, what's going to wind up happening is more and more as Roland Martin cites the statistics of disaffected African-American men, they're going to become more disaffected. It's happening. It's on my timeline. I'm debating with dudes that I grew up with. I'm debating them now on Facebook over Trumpisms, right? More and more people are just going to go over to our people, to the Republican Party, and we're really not going to get nothing.
And check this out. They weren't about him meeting with the Trump administration. Remember, he said both parties contacted him, both the Democrats and the Republicans.
That's right.
The Democrats played him. The Republicans tried to, adopt a few agenda items off of his thing. But here's the question. This is what I would have asked Roland and them. I want y'all to consider this. Why is it that Joe Biden had a public meeting with Cardi B and her WAP, but wouldn't take a meeting with me?
What about the other chick that wore the thong at the Lakers game?
Oh, Lizzo.
And strippers and what's the dude name? The black dude they had dancing.
Billy
Porter, I think.
Yeah,
Billy Porter. So we got strippers and pole dancers and Dominican rappers and all of this kind of stuff, talking about what the black community needs, and he's entertaining that. But somebody that actually sat with scholars and academics and historians and put something together, whether you agree with every point of it or not, there's something scholastic about it. There's something historical about it. It's factually historical about what he wrote. But you're gonna tell him, we might entertain that after the election. First of all, there ain't no guarantee that you're gonna win. Number one. Right, and this is the point that he's making. He's going to make that point. I don't want to cut into it because he's going to make that very point when talking to Alicia Garza. But y'all get where I'm going with it. You could go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. I'm at the Black Caucus CBC website now. This is the CBC of the federal government. The U.S. Congress. We got to recognize that that's different from the various caucus CBCs or whatever on the state level. And so because we got to give the California members a shout out.
That's right.
Because they were the ones.
Shout out to Tiffany Qualls. Shout out to Friday Jones. Shout out to Brother Chad. What's the other brother?
We don't want to leave no names out.
Yeah, we don't want to leave no names. They deserve.
That's why I ain't even say no names.
They deserve credit, man, because they
love and respect.
And hey, it is what it is. A couple weeks ago, but shout out to the brother Tone as well.
Definitely.
The work he did,
part of that
testimony he gave.
No doubt, hold it down.
No doubt, the testimony he gave in
that's right.
the interview as well yesterday.
So, Marcus Champion, that's right, that's his name, Brother Marcus. Shout out to my brother as well.
That's right. Peace, God.
But this is I don't know. Can y'all see the screen? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'm looking on here. Okay, budget appropriations and tax, civil rights, civil and voting rights, criminal justice reform, diversity. Okay, economic wealth. Oh, well, maybe reparations is under economic wealth development. Let's see. Racial wealth gap. Okay. Let me just read. The racial wealth gap is widening. In fact, to gain wealth compared to white high school dropouts, African Americans have to complete both high school and some college. That means Black Americans need to invest more resources and time to achieve the same results as white Americans who are not forced to make the same level of investment. Bridging the gap requires proactive policies. Okay, what policies? That reverse the impact of racially discriminatory practices of freezing Black families out of capital, housing, and educational markets. Okay. The CBC Economic Development and Wealth Creation Task Force promotes programs that improve economic conditions in historically underserved communities, including neighborhood stabilization funds, community development block grants, finance institutions, small business procurement, and technical assistance, and new markets tax credits. The task force also tracks developments on the fintech horizon to ensure new technologies provide more evenly distributed economic growth and exhibit best practices of fair lending, non-discrimination. Let me tell you the problem with this right here. They they start the statement out talking about the racial wealth gap widening and to gain what we need to do to gain wealth comparable to white high school dropouts, and we need to invest more resources and time to achieve the same results as white Americans. No, that's not closing the racial wealth gap. The only thing that's going to close the racial wealth gap is reparations. So, I mean, I would think that wealth creation and economic development, if you're going to make any statement that's talking about the racial wealth gap, if you're talking about closing it, you have to say reparations. There's no way around it. That's the only way. That's what Dr. Sandy Darity from Duke University and several other economists have said the same thing. You got to close with reparations. I don't know how many have said that, but I know Dr. Darity does, and I know there's a whole lot of research backing that up. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Let's go down. Okay. Education and labor, no. Energy and environment, agriculture, reparations, not under there. Foreign affairs and national security, okay, not under there. Healthcare, I mean, these are all important issues. Immigration reform, okay. I mean, I don't see how that's
a
dealing
black
with
issue.
large, and not on a large scale, unless you're talking about reforming it in a certain way that protects us. As far as restricting it, that's the only. And let's just. I don't want to get it too far into it, but let's just glance through it real quick. Are they talking about restricting it? Do you see anything talking about restricting H-1B visas or doing ADOS specific affirmative action? No, I don't see nothing like that. Okay, let's go. Not gonna waste too much time. I don't see that on there. Now, let's see. Judicial nominations, police accountability work. These are. I'm not trying to say these are not important issues. I believe they are, but most of them. Okay, poverty reduction and what is that? And safety net program.
You gonna give us more food stamps?
Let's see. Do we see reparations? I don't see no reparations on here either.
No.
Oh, whoa. For example, the task force, let me just read it. The cycle of poverty continues to disproportionately affect the African American community. Yes. The CBC Poverty Reduction Task Force focuses on the systemic reasons behind this issue, including the lack of employment, housing, and educational opportunities in the African American community. It is with this perspective in mind that the CBC Task Force proposes policy solutions that will help break the cycle. So what policies are that? You're talking about reparations. You're talking about, things outlined on ADOS101.com. I don't think so. For example, the task force supports the 10-20-30 formula, a bold initiative, that requires federal agencies to commit 10% of their budgets to 476 counties where 20% or more of the population has been living below the poverty line for the last 30 years. So we already have established
10, 20, 30.
Yeah.
We got to hit them with the SETI.
Nah, bro. So basically, they're saying we need to use the little political capital we have for ADOS and have that gobbled up by poor whites in Appalachia and other. Because see, anytime you do place-based initiatives, it's not going to be lineage-based, and the show ain't going to be race-based. It's not going to be race-based, and it's definitely is not going to be lineage-based. The issue is not a place-based problem; it's a lineage-based problem. If you want to talk about environmental or something like that, I can see, but not poverty. That's when you need to talk about the legacy of slavery and systemic oppression and racism. That's when you talk about. That's what I would expect to see on the Congressional Black Caucus. Not no 10, 20, 30 formula just because it was presented by Clyburn. That is not policy specific for us. So let me go back. I don't want to take too much time away from what we're talking about, but I'm just letting you know if the CBC is saying that they've already proposed policy that's supposed to fix the problems and supposed to address our issues, I don't see no reparations on here, and I don't see a whole lot of specifics on here. Now, some of the stuff is good. A lot of the stuff is good, but you cannot bake a cake without flour. You can't say because I put eggs and icing on it. Don't nobody want eggs and icing omelet. You got to have flour in there. You got to have some sugar. You got to have a whole lot of stuff. But you can't make no cake without no flour. You can't make no bread without no flour. You can put a butter or whatever, yeast. That ain't no, that you can't make no cake with that. So let me just jump back and switch this screen and push play again. Let me share.
That's right, Dr. Lily.
Oh yeah. Oh my bad. I don't think I shared.
After this, we're gonna get into Diddy's our black
political party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what he's talking about here on this thing.
Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Go ahead, bro.
All right. Alicia's there on the West Coast. To me, this is an opportunity, I think, for the two of you to get together. For the
see
other
how he try to
get
do
together.
Mm-hmm.
To Cube's contract, and then the Black Census Project, then what the CBC is doing. This is how you take Black Collective and say, how do we take all of these plans and then begin to move and then policies that we want? Alicia and Cube, what do y'all think about that? Alicia first.
Well, I think a few things, and I appreciate you raising that, Roland. I mean, to me, you can't have movement. There are so many incredible organizers and activists all over this country who are coming together and fighting back every single day. And that is what it actually takes to create this level of change. You know, I will say that, Cube, I agree with you in terms of your frustration. I've been frustrated too. I took the Black Agenda 2020 to these campaigns, to the party, and I've had a hell of a time getting phone calls back. You know, I've had to do a lot of maneuvering even to get the smallest pieces of our plan inside any kind of platform. And so that is to be criticized, and we need to keep holding their feet to the fire. But where I disagree with the conclusion here is that, A, I don't think justice is a business transaction. I think if we're going to change systems, policies, and laws, we have to get in the game and stay in the game. And I don't think it's a simple, you give me this, I get that back, I give you this, you get that back. We have to govern an entire country, and we can't govern that way. Donald Trump is governing that way, and that's what's not working.
She's so belittling.
I also want to just offer here that for me, you know, I've heard Van Jones and others say that people need to go to the people in power. And I actually, you know, think I understand the premise behind that. But what it overshadows in my mind is it allows them to get off the hook for all of the other egregious things that they do to our communities. You know, I can't help but feel sick when I hear Donald Trump, you know, talking about the First Step Act, but then also telling the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. And I don't get to actually look past that. That impacts my everyday life. I get death threats every single day.
This ain't about you.
Who are listening to this president. And therefore, I don't have any confidence that even in the sense that he implements something like the First Step Act when it's convenient for him and talks mess about it when it's not, I don't have any confidence that the amount of power has been built actually to get these things done. I don't fault you for trying to move an agenda, but I don't think we can take any shortcuts here. And I certainly don't think we can jump the line. And, you know, it would be one thing if people actually weren't working on this every day. Imagine what we could do together, Cube, if I had access to a platform like this. Hold on. But I don't have access.
Hold on, Alicia. I know Cube has to go, but Cube,
this contract been out for months, so there's been, you know, if anybody wanted to work with me, I've been open invitation from day one to work together, make the platform better, and you know, nobody has, or very few have come out to do that. So, you know, I'm not gonna wait to get nobody's line. You know, if I feel like I can speak for Black people, I'm gonna go speak for Black people to whoever. And you know, you have a plan for Biden win, but what's your plan if Trump wins? You know, you have to have a plan for either president. And so in either administration, we can't just go dormant, because this is the problem I think that's been happening with us. You know, we go dormant We don't push both parties hard to do what needs to be done, what's right. And, you know, some people got a whole country to run. We don't have a whole country to run. Black people in a bad situation.
We didn't already built one.
We don't have a pot to piss in.
That's
we
right.
ain't even really in the damn equation when you really look at it. We just get to show up and we get to go home still broke. And unless you have capital in America, you're not gonna be really involved in what's going on.
I wanted to pause real quick just to for those people who may be watching who may not have been around that long as far as this movement and may not be aware of the data. Middle black family taking out depreciating assets worth about $1,700. Middle white family by the same metric is like the 117 or something like that, 107. And on the average end, the average black family, so that's the median I gave you. On the mean side, it's about 117,000 for the average black family, the mean, and about 909,000 or something like that for the average white family. So if you don't understand that, you got to, then we break it down in by different cities. It's a report called The Color of Wealth. It was done by Dr. Sandy Darity. I believe other economists that were on that report. I think it varies per city, but I know in my city where I live at, Washington, D.C., middle black families worth $3,500. And the middle white families, I think, is $384,000. The middle Indian American family is worth $573,000 in Washington, D.C. So we're at the bottom. If you go to Miami, I believe it's like $11 hard. If you go to Boston, it's $11 liquid. Excuse me. If you go to Boston, it's $8 hard. The middle black family is worth $8. You go to Los Angeles, I believe the middle black family is worth $200 liquid. Meanwhile, the middle Nigerian family, I believe, is like $60,000 liquid or something like that. And the middle Indian family is like in the $400,000 and $500,000 range. So, like, when we have to advocate, we have to understand our wealth position. So when you hear the brother say black folks ain't got a pot to piss in, we talk about specifically ADOS, but you have to understand that no matter what you see on TV with LeBron James and athletes and entertainers, keep in mind, Ice Cube done made several movies. He's a star in several movies. He done produced several movies. He had all kind of top-selling albums and records, and he's advocating, for our position. He's speaking to our wealth level. So for those of you who may not have been around, you got to understand where we at and not be fooled by what we see on TV and what we see in the mainstream media about us having wealth, because part of that is to distract us and keep our politics to where we don't demand nothing and to kind of neutralize our argument to say we don't have nothing, because the majority of Americans who would need to be in support of us getting government policy and reparations to address our wealth level would be programmed to think that we doing all right when we not. But I'm going to keep playing them.
In America, when it comes to running the whole country. So we got to look after black people and figure out how to get money in the hands of families and in this country into businesses that went down. We got to figure out how to get a lot of capital into those hands.
So can we do this here then? Can we do?
No, we're not doing that, Roland. We're not doing that. You're trying to make Cube, fold into what Alicia's doing. It's like, all right, Cube, you didn't get out of control. You're getting out of line now. We need to put you back into the fold of the establishment. We need to put you back. Like it's real slick what they're trying to do. And it's like, all right, well, we're gonna put you with Alicia. So maybe y'all saying something similar. Y'all can work together. No. Alicia has a policy of erasure and using the political capital of our struggle and using the story of our struggle to feed into an all lives matter type of policy. It's funny how you have an organization that's called Black Lives Matter, but then when you read it, you really say it's all lives matter. We're gonna get right into that right now. Matter of fact, I hate to I don't know if y'all want to say something to that.
Let's play this part. Yeah, let's play this part, and then after this, let's get into the Diddy.
No, I'm done. I think this is done right here. Unless you wanted to keep playing.
No. Yeah, let's
check it out. Check it out, man.
Okay.
Let me say something. I ain't.
Oh, peace, brother.
I came in late. Let me just say my little piece before we get into Diddy and what he's talking about a new party or whatever he's proposing. I guess y'all gonna flesh that out. I don't really know what he's talking about. I'm willing to see and listen and hear to see what he's talking about. But Ice Cube, let me just say this about Ice Cube, right? One thing that you have to understand, Ice Cube is an American citizen. Ice Cube can do politics the way he feels he needs to do politics. If Ice Cube feels convicted and Ice Cube feels led and moved to use his agency for what he feel is right, Ice Cube can do that as a citizen and as a man. If you think that Ice Cube doesn't know enough, and if you think that Ice Cube should have came and sat down with you before he said something, something's wrong with you, right? Understand, that's not how nothing works, family. That's not how nothing works. We have to understand, like, if you're upset that Ice Cube went and spoke to both sides of the aisle, something's wrong with you. Because that's the problem in the first place. The Democrats are not the answer. The Republicans are not the answer. The only answer is policy that is going to address and affect us and transform our situation from being on the bottom and coming from up under the ground and coming on top. That's not going to happen by towing some party line, by Alicia Garza, and everything she embodies is disgusting. With the whole image of her is disgusting. Everything that she talked about on this particular program and that I've read, seen, and heard is disgusting. She is not trying to bring transformative policies to Black America.
That's right.
She's up there with her, she got her hair done and her nails done and all this stuff, and she want to talk cute and look cute. I told you last night, you ain't going to be able to sashay no reparations up into the chambers of Congress or the Senate up in the White House. That ain't how nothing works. Politics is warfare. And if you look like you're scared to break a nail, you need to get the hell out of the way. That's not what this is about. Ice Cube is a man, and he didn't go in there to play. Now, we can disagree and we can bring brothers in. We have to insulate and educate. If we see the brother has made a move to step into this space, we can't tell that brother, well, you need to do, who are we to dictate to him what he needs to do? That's a man.
That's right.
If we are interested in his efficacy and moving forward, we need to make attempts to help get with that brother. Let's have a sit down. That's what business people do. That's what people who are serious about transformation and policy. We say, okay, somebody contact that brother. I would like to have a lunch. Let's do lunch. Let's do dinner. Let's do brunch. Let's do a conference call.
That's right.
Something. Let's have a conversation. What the hell are y'all doing? How are you so emotionally attached to what Ice Cube is doing when the brother is telling you, I'm seeing a problem and I'm doing what the best that I can at the moment, using my agency, using my social capital, using who I am to try to address the problem. And he's getting done what people ain't been able to get done. We did a program about his contract for Black America. We talked about our issues with it. But at the end of the day, BETHEPOWER can't do what Ice Cube did. We couldn't get the governor to come in at the 11th hour and sign the bill. We couldn't do that.
That's right.
Nobody in ADOS could do that. So if you think that the Ice Cube brother wasn't important in getting his ear and getting his attention and getting his support, then you out to lunch on this issue. You understand? That is a man. That is an American citizen. And that is our brother. And he is a son of freedmen. He is rooted and tethered into the oppression that has been cycled through all of our lives. So we have to change that silly mentality of when we hear people say things that we disagree with, we just want to be like, well, he need to shut up. We need to do that. No. We need to get with our brother. We need to help have conversations and discussions, educate our brother, hash out our differences like civilized human beings, and then we can come and present a unified front. Now back to Alicia Garza and this Black Lives Matter foolishness. If anyone can't see that is a charade, then you need to get out the way. You're the one that need to sit down. The only acronym BLM I'm concerned with is the Bureau of Land Management. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. I don't care nothing about no organization called Black Lives Matter that don't care nothing about no black lives. You can get that on up out of here. You understand? So we don't care about
and they
this.
damn sure don't care about black families.
And yeah, black, because that's what it would have been. That's what it would have been. They don't give a damn about no black family. How you gonna care about black lives and there's nothing in your program trying to sustain, protect, and further the future of black families, black babies? Because I don't care if you're LGBTQ, you're still somebody's daughter, you're still somebody's sister, you're still somebody's cousin. You understand that? We are still family at the end of the day. All of this little specific special group interest is garbage, and it hurts the collective, and it hurts the group effort to get the problem solved that we all have a common effect with. So we can move forward and talk about Diddy and whatever he got going on, but that's what I got to say about that.
Oh, definitely.
The black family is God.
Facts. All right, who, Josh? Did you want to pull up?
I got.
Okay.
Pull up. So this how we gonna do. We're gonna take this right to let me make sure my screen don't pull up the wrong stuff. We're gonna pivot right to Diddy. We're gonna show y'all how this ties into Diddy. Let me just share my whole screen. All right, so now we see Diddy comes out and he says, let me know can y'all see this? Yeah, so he said, so I'm launching, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna show y'all how this, what we just talked about with Ice Cube ties into Diddy. Like how it's not by accident, it's it all, and Alicia Garza, we're gonna tie all this together. So look, Diddy says, so I'm launching one of the boldest things I've ever launched. I'm launching a black political party with some young black elected officials and activists. It's called Our Black Party. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Okay, all right, let's see what they're talking about, right? So it's okay. So he says, the mission is to create a platform to advance a political agenda that addresses the needs of black people. So going forward, we aren't in the same position we are in today. Visit ourblackparty.org. You know, I had come across this like in the summertime, and I actually had reached out to one of the brothers that is one of the founders of this site. I found it in like April or May or something like that. Oh no, June, sometime. No, I found it in like May or June, but I believe they were, I reached out to the brothers right after that, but I believe they launched this thing maybe like in March or April. So let's just go to their website. Okay. Yes,
indeed.
Right. So what they're about, let's just read it. All right. Okay. This is the leadership. Oh, this is about them. This is their leadership. You know, we got brothers from a sister from Maryland, you know, and I'm not, and before I get into this, I'm not trying to beat anybody up in particular. I don't know any of these individuals. Like I said, I reached out to them. I didn't get no response. It's all good. But these are the people who are part of this party. And hopefully, you know, they can get it right, you know. But I'm just going off of what we can see on the website. So let's go on to values. And like I said, I reached out to them. If y'all want to reach out to us, you know, we're definitely down to have a conversation because there's some issues I got over here with this and
no doubt.
if you're gonna have a party that you're gonna try to push our people to, we're gonna have to have. I mean, it's gonna have to make some sense for what we need. So it says, people over party. The time is now. We own our votes, declaring our independence. Okay, that sounds good. Now let's go to agenda. All right, we're committed to creating an agenda and elevating policies and people focused on Black liberation. Okay, no specificity, but okay. With this agenda, we will energize voters, current and new, reframe the national political landscape, and reshape culture for the benefit of Black people. Okay, all right. Now, defunding the police, guaranteed income for all. Okay, anytime I see stuff like all Americans, that's the easy way to get messed up and to get where when you trying to scream loud, people can hear your voice when it's silence. When everybody else is is on mute and you can talk and your voice can be heard. If all people are screaming, how can your specific voice be heard? It can't. So, that's why I don't like you stuff was talking about all.
And let me say real quick, that also, when you use that term all, it also opens the door for the Roland Martins, Alicia Garzas, et cetera, the CBC, the Democratic base, because that was a lot of what we just witnessed with the pushback to Cube was his specificity. It wasn't just the fact that he met with Trump, because Roland met with Trump. A lot of different people have met with Trump. It was the fact that he's now being specific. And when they asked him about grassroots organizations, he said, yes, the ADOS movement in California. So, that's the problem.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all right. My bad. I forgot. So guaranteed income for all. I understand when you're trying to build a party. Yeah. You want me to read it? All right. Too many people, especially Black people, are excluded from participation in the economy. Especially Black people. I know, okay, this has got to be a focus on us, but okay. We know that those who are employed face low wages, unsafe working conditions, and risks of retaliation for advocating for workers' rights. We also know that poverty has continued to exist in this country despite the highs of the economy. The economy alone is not the answer. We demand a guaranteed income for all. Okay, basically they talking about UBI, and they're going to be basing that off of what King was talking about. All right, so decriminalize poverty. I don't want to go read all of these because I want to get into the point we get into. But decriminalizing poverty, yes, that's an issue that is definitely tied to us, but it's not specific to us. Come here, baby. Address racism in healthcare. My son that came upstairs. Yes, baby. I'll open it for you. Give me 1 second. The iPad. There you go.
Address racism in healthcare. Grow Black businesses. Yo, read the Grow Black businesses thing.
Okay, let's read it. Governments at all levels spend billions of dollars each year through contracts with small businesses, and Black businesses do not have an equitable share of the spending. We demand equity for Black businesses in every jurisdiction where they operate. Okay. Okay. And that sounds good, but
it sounds good.
Not a lot of specificity there. But
especially when you're just using flat Black without being specific to ADOS business.
That's what we're talking about. You have to tie in the historical context of slavery and accrued disadvantage. So the 1,000.
Hold on. Let me jump in real quick. Right. Understand.
Yes,
see, this is the problem with all of these different kind of organizations that pop up. There's not enough, and they got all these things going on, but none of them put enough emphasis in the education program. Where is your education program? If I want to evaluate an organization, an activist group, or a political party, I need to know what your educational program looked like, because without the educational program, I don't know what this thing is dedicated to. I don't know what it's rooted in. So if there ain't no education and this thing ain't centered around education, how I know that you're not just trying to come in and be the oppressor your damn self? You just want to talk to all my dissatisfactions and speak to all my hurt feelings, and then you come in and now you just gonna be the mediator between the super oppressor, and you're gonna be the median oppressor. I don't need no oppressor liaisons. I don't need none of that. You understand? So the first thing you should do in an organization that's activist oriented or a political organization, you have to put together a education program to educate you. How you gonna start a party and we don't know what the ideology of the party is? You ain't even talk to us, and we ain't talk about party ideology. See, you're trying to do things too fast. You don't really know what you're doing. You need to take a step back and say, let me get the education piece together. I know time is short, and I know time is running out. And we in a crazy dire situation, but you have to do what's right, no matter what the time looks like, or it won't be right. And it's going to be a failed mission. If you're going to create a party, the education has to be the focal point. That's why people know what this thing is about, because anybody can make an organization and then it'd be an emotionless thing. Now you into it because the emotions are high, and then when the emotion dies out, the political action dies out. Or you might think this thing is about money, and then once you get the money, then you gone. You understand? So we have to understand what the thing is going to be in the finale. What is the finale going to look like? Anybody can talk about or anybody can talk about oppression, because we've had oppression for so long. It's easy to talk about oppression and say, these are the bad things. These are the bad things, and we're against these things. But you ain't told me enough about your educational program to tell me step by step how we going to move from the bad things to the good things. So if I don't know,
I didn't mean to cut you, brother. Clear up what you mean by education. I don't think some people understand what you're talking about in the chat.
Well, okay. The fact that people don't understand that is exactly what I'm talking about, because we've had so many organizations that don't have education. And so now when you bring up education, they're like, what do you mean? Right. So, okay. I mentioned before you jump out there and say we have a party, excuse me. How do we know that we want to get behind the party and we don't know what the party ideology is rooted in? See, so you have all these different kind of political ideologies, like, conservative is like, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal, you understand, right? I'm a moderate. These are ideologies, and then there's education that comes with that. You could say, what do conservatives stand for? Excuse me. Right? So then you can do some history, right? So you don't know what to really think of that until you do some education. Then before you enter a party and you're able to speak on behalf of a party, and so you have to have some type of enrollment information. You have to have some party literature to educate the people so that they know what they coming into and becoming a part of. Because if you just talk to the things that you think that they want to hear, you'll have people join in an organization and you don't really know what it's dedicated to. Without no party literature and that without no party educational tools, we don't know how to speak to the needs of the party, and we don't know where the direction of the party is headed. So without a orientation, a literature, right? You have to have literature so that we know what the party stand for, not just a issues list on your website. Say we stand for these issues. We need to know what is your party's philosophy about going about rectifying these problems, because that's the education. Because if I come and ask a member of your party, what's your party's position on this? We don't just say, well, we think poverty is bad. Poverty ain't good. Poverty ain't no good thing. No, you have to be educated and understand how to articulate the philosophy of the party, so that the party.
Well, they got a values tab up there, the values tab, and you know what I mean?
But a values tab ain't education. Who is out here training people on how to speak on the party articulation?
I'm about to show you.
Before you do that, let me just give my last example. Let me just give my last example before you do that, right? Because I don't know what you're about to show me. Because Diddy did this thing too fast for me to know that he got the right training set up and he got the right education thing set up. So I'm interested in seeing what you're about to show. But let me just say, so again, with ideology, right? So if I say I'm a reparationist, right? That's my political philosophy. It has historical components to it. So you can go read up on what a reparationist is, right? That's my political philosophy. And then if we was going to come out with a party, we would already be leading with ideology teachings, literature to tell you what exactly our party is about. That's why nowhere in the country will you find someone who's connected to this party talking about something different than someone else on the other side of the country. It has uniformity to it. It has structure, organization, and education. You can't do anything right without education. Education has to be the centerpiece of any effective and successful organization or institution.
No doubt. And everybody listening, well, I would assume the vast majority of the people listening to this particular broadcast have been getting a political education on a specific ideology for at least a year or longer, or it's been several months. A lot of people have gone back and binged a lot of the programming coming from Sister Yvette and Brother Tone and all that kind of, and even now for half of the year, BTP. So they've been getting an education. So that's the foundation of a party. That's the foundation of the educational standpoint you talk about. So when you want to open up a party, you already have people that are coming in, and everybody's on this. Most people are on code on the same page and know what to expect and know how to communicate the same type of messaging to everybody else. And I would add one more thing. You know, by having Diddy be like a lead person to drive people to this party, and by calling it our Black Party and stuff like that, I think it's a similar thing to where you look at doing identity type of politics where people lead and they want to join because it's something that's identity based and personality based as opposed to like policy based and agenda based as much, because people don't even know how to approach this because they haven't been given education. So let me just go back down. This is one thing that's interesting. We have seen that a system run by people, this is the 1,000. We've seen that a system run by people who are not committed to the Black agenda will pass and support laws that undermine Black existence. I agree. We, in most cases, we will elect at least 1,000 Black people to positions of power at every level of government that support the Black agenda. Cool, but again, specificity matters. You know, we can look at HR 40. I believe if we had an ADOS reparationist person leading a bill similar to HR 40 or even HR 40, they would have made sure that the proper edits have taken place, and they would be promoting this thing the right way, you know. But not having that ADOS reparationist candidate, congressperson pushing it makes a difference. So yeah, I mean, you got to understand, again, going back to well position of ADOS around the country, we can have 1,000 Black people in positions, but unless you're coming from the right perspective with the specificity of the foundational people of America, the native Black Americans, ADOS, if you're not coming from that position, we can't expect the same type of policies, you know, that will be implemented by somebody that may have a different background. Okay, so that's again, we got to talk about specificity. Statewide equity officers, state laws and programs developed without considering the impacts of Black people. We demand that governors of all 50 states support a cabinet level advisor to ensure that all state programs are developed with an equity and justice lens. Okay, cool. High quality and affordable education, whether due to their class, race, or zip code. All right, you're already doing some more. Black students are deprived of high quality educations. Yes, we demand investment in strengthening curriculum, instruction, learning environments, and access to Black students at every level. Okay, legalize marijuana. All right, build intergenerational wealth. Okay. Oh, what just happened? I don't know what just happened. Oh, it's a link to the ACLU. Okay, so where's reparations? Where's reparations? The history of you talk about the history of redlining,
not there.
Racism in appraisals, predatory lending practices, unchecked gentrification has stripped Black families of years of wealth building through home ownership. We demand a removal of all barriers to home ownership and fairness in lending for Black people. So where is the reparations? How you gonna have a Black political party in 2020 post ADOS and not talk about reparations or any type of specificity for the people who built the country and been locked out of wealth generationally? There's no reparations. There's no specificity. What we need to join this for? Like I try to reach out. Hopefully somebody can reach out and talk to these people, or else you know this is going to be a problem. Because and now if you're trying to figure out like what are they doing to educate? What are they doing? What is the undergirding of this agenda? Where did this come from? All right, I'm about to bring it full circle. Let's go to FAQs. All right, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going straight to what is your agenda for Black people? Oh, our Black Party has adopted the Black Agenda 2020, created and published by the Black to the Future Action Fund as a framework for our political agenda. Oh, that doesn't sound familiar to you. We already covered that some months ago on this program. Let's go to it. Oh, Black Agenda 2020, Black to the Future Action Fund. Now, okay, let's go down to this. Make Black people powerful in the economy. Black people powerful in the society. No specificity again. Make Black people powerful in the democracy, in the communities, families, legal system. Now let's
What was that?
2018. Yeah. In
What's that?
2018.
Never mind.
I don't know who that is. I think I don't know who that is. I don't recognize that.
It don't look like a family structure, but
yeah, that's true. Facts.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't see no brother in that picture at all.
This
There's
goes
no
back to the
representation of the
educational
family.
program. See, if we wouldn't be guessing if we knew that the educational program was solid. We would know if this thing was dedicated to the preservation of Black families or if it was just some type of loose language dedicated to anything. An educational program, it has to be the cornerstone and the nexus of any successful movement, whether it be political, economic, social, or any other kind of movement. Without, you can't see, having agenda items is just throwing out hot topics onto a website or to a page so people can see. Anybody can do that. But if you don't tell me what kind of literature are y'all studying in this with this party? So when the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense started, they had literature that they was passing out. So you knew what type of framework they was coming from. They was reading and passing out Francis Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth. They was reading General Miles. You understand? They developed a platform and program that was very specific about what they want and what they needed. So if you don't have clear and specific aims and objectives, philosophies and opinions, and we don't know what we're getting into, what I'm seeing from the P. Diddy thing is an emotionalist type of approach. Let's speak to the emotions of the people so we can get a lot of traction, and then do what? What is the destination? And then if I'm going to join something that's going to be as important as my existence and survival in this country, I need more than that. And somebody in chat said, well, he's just getting started, give him some time. I am giving him time. I'm not saying that thing might not be better later on. I'm telling him what I'm looking for. I'm not criticizing him for forming something. I'm criticizing what he has now and telling him what it needs to become before I get interested or involved in something like that. Right. Any man has the right to do whatever he feels is right, but I'm weighing in as a person that he's targeting, because he's talking about Black folks, right? So he's targeting me, and I'm saying, if you want someone serious like me to get involved, this is what I need you to do to get my participation in a thing. That's all this is, family. See, the problem is many of us, even you, some of you in the chat, are just far too emotional. And politics is not about your emotions or what you feel like. It's about power. It's about understanding the science of who gets what, when, where, and how to accomplish that. Because politics is about the distribution of power. You understand? So
that's right.
We got to get our heads wrapped on tight. This ain't just some reality TV show that we can just keep tuning into. This is the fight of all times and the climb of all climbs.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody understands the moment we're in. Like this is like, you know, we read about the civil rights movement back in the day. Like this is that time for us now. You talk to elders and people like that. They haven't seen any type of movement happen. They haven't seen any type of like mass upheaval or awakening of our people, and demanding policy and demanding reparations. They haven't seen, a lot of them ain't seen that in their lifetime. And if the closest thing they think about it is the civil rights movement. So now, Josh, like I wanted to tie into Alicia Garza to this.
That's what I was going to ask.
I think is missing. Yes. So to get back, what we started with was the Ice Cube piece, and we, you know, how Roland Martin blindsided with him with Alicia Garza, and how she was talking about, well, what grassroots organizations you part of, and he part of ADOS. Then she gonna try to say, well, do you think Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization? Boom. She talked about all that kind of stuff. She tried to trap him. Then at the end, she gonna say, well, why don't you, I would love to work with you. And then, no coincidence, the same day, Diddy is announcing that he's a part of he's pushing this political party that had already been launched. And he's kind of like trying to help them launch it further. And you're trying to figure out what's the agenda of this party, and where did they get their agenda from? They got it from Alicia Garza in her Black Futures Lab. That's where. So Diddy is now pushing the Alicia Garza platform and agenda through his political party.
The Black Lives Matter.
Diddy is pushing the de facto Black Lives Matter agenda through this Black Futures Lab in his new political party. That's their agenda. And okay, again, it's not sitting on the black family. Now, I ain't trying to talk no stuff about Diddy, but you know, some stuff that came out recently about him that I ain't gonna get into. I ain't gonna get into like that. But I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah.
In 2018, the Black Futures Lab launched the Black Census Project, the largest survey of Black people conducted in the United States in over 155 years. Over 30,000 Black people in all 50 states participated. I think Yvette even did a show. I'm not going to go through all this. Yvette did a show already talking about this. Sister Yvette Carnell, she did a show talking about this a while ago, you know, and it's problematic. But it says over 30,000 Black people in all 50 states participated, provided insightful views and opinions about politics, society, and the opportunities and challenges facing Black communities and the nation. Again, no specificity. The information gathered through the Black Census amplifies the concerns and aspirations of the most politically and civically engaged Black adults in the U.S., reveals issues critical to engaging, activating, and strengthening Black communities in the years ahead. And this thing, it didn't really catch the traction I believe that she was hoping it would catch, even though she got a whole lot of money. I believe she got like 500,000 or something to do this. And, you know, let's look at here. Let's see what it says. The recommendations listed here reflect the breadth and the depth of Black communities in America, including populations that are underrepresented in traditional policymaking frameworks, such as homeless people, incarcerated people, LGBT people, Black immigrants, Black people in rural communities, but whose experiences are important to understanding the complexity of the Black life and the solutions we seek. Look, this thing really did. When we went through this on a past program, it really ain't do nothing. It really ain't saying nothing that we didn't already know. And you can kind of talk about, you can kind of see what their agenda, what they're trying to convey, you know, and it's essentially all lives matter. It's essentially using our struggle and our story to force like a class-based agenda on, you know, through. I mean, it's really despicable, man. It really is troubling, man. So let's read some of this stuff. I mean, look, I don't see nothing about the Black family. I don't see nothing about no ADOS family. But it says here, race matters. Okay, you say race matters, then we're going to skip down to here. America is a multicultural society, and we believe this rich diversity strengthens our democracy. In order to accomplish our goal, making Black communities powerful in politics, we must fully embrace the complexity of who we are. Black people are not a monolith. We are immigrant, disabled, rural, LGBT, transgender, non-conforming, and deepening alike. Man, I don't even want. Y'all got something to say about this? Because what I'm trying to show y'all is
because we gotta wrap it up.
Look, John, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up right now. But that was an excellent breakdown. I love how you tied everything together.
Alicia Garza back.
That's right. You know how one thing definitely tied into the other, and we see the play here. The play is we're gonna use the agency that we have through these this Rainbow Coalition, right? And I'm not saying that to be disparaging, but we're going to use this Rainbow Coalition to pretend like we're going to do something for our people who are disproportionately affected by everything that's wrong in the United States of America. And if you do anything to deviate that plan, we're going to get everybody on your case, which is what they did with Ice Cube. And I thought Ice Cube handled himself well. Of course, we would love to have the brother on the BETHEPOWER platform for a conversation, but we got to wrap it up, family. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Shout out to the BETHEPOWER team. Shout out to the whole fam that's in the chat. Shout out to the mods, etc., etc. We'll be back on this Sunday at around 4 or 5 o'clock with the BTP youth. The topic that we're going to be discussing is the lost cause teachings and the whole issue of how the United Daughters of the Confederacy literally changed American history and our textbook, et cetera, et cetera. I want to update the family. We were trying to get 10 books for the youth. We received the donations to get those 10 books. I want to thank everybody that donated. We're trying to get the books. Well, we're going to get the books From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in 2020 by Dr. Sandy Darity and A. Kirsten Mullen. We're going to get that book to our BTP youth, and that's going to be their project over the next 6 months. And we're going to bring them on probably every weekend or every other weekend. So again, let me close out with our platform's motto, and that is, don't just fight the power, become the power, and then you will have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.
Peace.
I am a reparationist.
I am a reparationist.
Say it with your chest, yo.
With your chest.